So please welcome them. They're a book and their demo today is called Spicy Tasty Vegan. Please welcome Naasira and Dr. Joe.
First of all, we'd like to thank you for all coming out. And as we look out there, we see a lot of shiny, wonderful faces. So thank you, thank you, thank you. First of all, we'd like to tell you how this started. And my wife will just simply tell you her story, which may be similar to a lot of your stories. Naasira?
Yes. Hi, my name is Naasira Ageela. I live in Oakland, California, but I'm originally from San Francisco. I'm a vegan, and I have been a vegan for 12 years, but I've been working on the plant-based diet for 40 years. And it's because I had an illness from working in the medical field as a lab tech. And I was drawing blood from a patient. I was 19 years old, and I stuck myself with a needle and contracted hepatitis B. And from that experience, I was in college and wasn't eating the proper foods and was eating at the fast food restaurant. Well, my doctor told me I had to eat the diet that my mother raised me on. And so I just started cooking and creating different meals with smaller portions of meat and more vegetables, and eating also seasonal foods. So my African stew that I made, I learned how to make African stew while I was in college with some Nigerians. At that time, we had meat in it, but over the years, I just started leaving out the meat and adding. I started out with soy, and then when I read and found out that wasn't good, I just added more vegetables, legumes, coconut milk, just whatever. I just started creating my own food. And then later on, by the time I was 25, I had 3 sons, and so I started feeding them more or less plant-based. And I turned 60 this year, and I feel great, and my husband and I just decided instead of catering, because it was just not enough time to keep up with the demand, so we decided after we retired from our regular jobs and go to vegan cooking.
Well, my story is slightly different from hers. I come from a family of 10 children, okay? And my mother parents weren't the wealthiest people, so we ate whatever they gave us. And you can only imagine what that means, okay? And I get to witness a lot of maladies like gout, diabetes, insanity, a whole lot of things, and a lot of that seemed to be related to food. At a young age, about 14, I started hanging out with a friend of mine who 7-day Adventists. And most of the 7-day Adventists at that time were vegetarians. So I knew you could actually have food without meat. Now, they gave me a generous amount of cheese, though, because they had black. And now, the one who did all of the cooking, Mrs. Wesson, she just delighted me with her cooking. But she was like 5'1", and she weighed 230 pounds, so I knew there still had to be a better way. So later on, I started reading about it, and then I started pushing away things, substituting out. The red meat, I substituted that for chicken, and later on, I substituted the chicken out. And last to go, as you know, was the dairy. But finally, I was able to climb over that mountain. And with the help of my body, because each time I let go of something that I didn't need, I'd start feeling better. I'd have more energy. So that in itself was self-motivating. And then one day, in Oakland, checking on some of my music libraries, I ran into this lady. Now, she was so kind. She knew about my music, and she placated me. She went on and bought a cassette. I asked her a few years later when I saw her how'd she like the music, and she sheepishly said, "Oh, it was nice," and then later she listened to it. Now, at the time I had met her, she was married, and so was I. But years later, after she'd gone to Alaska and came back, she was no longer married, and nor was I. So it just so happens that we got together with this wonderful journey of food. I saw what she was doing, I knew what I wanted to do, and we started working together. Over the years, she had so many people that wanted her food, we could not keep up with the demands. So we said, okay, classes! Okay, that lasted about as long as we were tired trying to work and keep up with the classes, and that didn't work. So finally she said, I know, let's write a cookbook. Now, I had worked for 30 years as an educator and a teacher. I was ready to kick back in the sun, you know. But for those of you guys that know about being married, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. So the book was going to be read. So being the metaphysical people that most of us are out here, the first thing I did, I called on all of my spiritual visionaries. And I asked each and every one of them to visualize this book being completed. Now, I know she's the best vegan cook on the planet, but, you know, we're not just blowing our horns. We have over 80 testimonies in this book, and some of them are here. But what I wanted to do was to support her with that. I said, okay, we got good food. What about the cookware? What about the water you use, the fluoridation process, all of the different things? What about the microwave? What about the type of oils you use? Did someone say soy? Okay. And things that support it, like if we're talking about fibroid challenges, uterine challenges, where do all of these come from? And we found that, voila, diet. And your body, since we have different body types, there is a alkaline diet that can basically support all, but specifically those that have a lot of melanin. You should definitely be eating an alkaline diet, which is fruits, grains, vegetables, legumes, as opposed to an acidic one. And that is alcohol, white sugar, white salt, white flour, meat, and grease. Okay, so could we get a survey here? How many of you are enjoying this food that you're eating? Okay, hands down. Now, another thing that spurred us on to this was we talked to Dr. Atinya Yoka of Kenya. And in his research, he found that over 5,000 years ago, we Africans ate no meat. And we also communicated with the animals, albeit telepathically. And so when I thought about that, then I understood why animals don't talk to us. I mean, after all, if someone ate your mother and your brother, would you talk to them? Okay. And so
okay, so I'd like to know how you're enjoying the stew, right? Well, the stew is actually a specialty of mine because I use at least 40 different spices. And that was one of the ways that I was able to omit meat from my diet. I can just take any of the spices, and I brought some samples just to share. My favorite is turmeric. And we know what turmeric does for the body. It reduces the inflammation. And then I also like fennel. And I use the seeds, and as well as I grind it. Another is cardamom. And this is one that I was introduced to 40 years ago working in a hospital with a lady from India. And I was using it on my chicken at that time. But now it's all vegetables. And another is, this is the ground coriander. This is my favorite. And as we were writing the book, I learned that coriander is connected to cilantro. How many of you know that? Yeah, so yeah, this is one of my favorites. Another is caraway seeds. And what I do with my seeds too, when I'm ready to saute my stir fries or my stews, I saute the seeds, the seasons, the spices first, the herbs. And it gives the house a nice aroma as well. And it's healing. Another is cumin. How many of you are familiar with the cumin? And I use the seeds as well. Yeah, these are the seeds. This is fenugreek. How many of you are familiar with fenugreek? Yeah, this is really nice. And it's also healing and it's warm, especially during, the season changes. This is another coriander seeds. This is fennel. And here are the cardamom seeds. And I usually use these in my quinoa, my grains, which gives it a nice taste. Right now, I'm going to put together quickly my stir-fry some kale. And I have 3 different types of kale. I have the green kale, and these are the ones in season. The purple is my favorite because I like the darker, your food, the more nutritious it is. And the curly kale, the dinosaur, curly, and the purple. So I added a little of coconut oil, and I mixed at least 15 different spices, I think it is, turmeric, rosemary, basil, thyme, cumin, cardamom, fenugreek, a little of mineral salt, chipotle, and tarragon, and basil. So I didn't want to take the time to do all the seasoning. So I generally put some of the seasons inside and let it start cooking. Let me turn this up. And by the way, I've been using a wok for 35 years. Yeah, because this is one of the ways of cutting down, reduce your intake of food. And let me see, I'm going to get this a little warmer. And I'm going to add some onions, and I have some shallots, white onions, the new seasonal ones. I don't remember the name of those little flat onions that are out right now. I just bought them because I know they're in season, and the red onions. And I'll just... Shallots. Shallots is one, and there's the little round ones. No, which one? Yeah. What is it? The pearl. Yes, perfect. Thank you. Yes. And I'll add some more of this in it. Yeah, put a little bit of coconut oil. And this is the raw coconut oil. Yeah, okay. And then I'll add a little garlic and ginger. And a little of the, how many of you use the bouillon cubes occasionally? I add, this is the vegetable bouillons with the herbs. And I will, I think I got this good on there. And I'm going to put a little bit of the bouillon in here. And I just use a small amount of that. And then I also sprinkle the Bragg's liquid aminos. And sometimes I use the shoyu. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, so now I'll just put the kale in. I wonder if pardon me?
Nigerian inspired?
Nigerian, yes. Absolutely.
Now, did you chop the oil for the kale?
Yes, tore it up. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, that's okay. Okay.
I like the way he's doing it with the 2 spoons.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great way.
Yeah, it works really well. And then I also can add a little more. I don't have another spoon, but I can just do it this way. And I add the spices to give it a nice flavor.
Now, in our research, what we found with the oils, we suggest the best to use would be extra virgin olive oil, or if you're doing high heat cooking, use organic raw coconut. Now, I got caught up along with a lot of friends of mine in that vegetable oils ploy, And I didn't find out until later that, my goodness, if you're going to have vegetable oil, how does it look all kind of clear like that? Especially when we know that it has certain omega oils in there, and if they heat up, they spoil. Well, when I found that they put deodorizers in that stuff too, so you don't smell it, I said, whoopee! And also, with the soy story that continues, They caught us really good. I mean, a lot of us were trying to get healthy in the 60s and 70s. Any of you had to do that? Try to get healthy. And then the soy came. I mean, there was soy ice cream, there was soy this and soy that, and we thought that was the best thing going. But what they didn't tell us that they admitted part of the story. Yes, it is true that there are Asians and some peasant farmers that eat this stuff we call the soybean, but what they didn't tell us was that they only ate a small amount, not a large amount. And they had to go through a fermentation process. And unfortunately, they didn't tell us that they were going to give us that other stuff called tofu. It has a lot of toxins in it. And the book tells you all about it, and you can read more about it. But the bottom line, stay away from those vegetable oils, unless you're really into premature aging.
Yeah, so we're almost done. How many of you use lots of spices or spices in your food? And can you tell that it's so much more healing to keep them in your body? And you don't really have to worry about taking too many, medications and all of that, because this pretty much has kept me away from doctors for the last 15 plus years. Mm-hmm.
The more spices, the less salt.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if you use the salt, the mineral salt's the best. Yeah. Okay. Ooh, okay.
Okay, do we have any volunteers? Anyone want to try? Okay, could I get some help here, please?
Ooh, I gotta let this cool. Maybe I'll take this to the kitchen.
Please, thank you.
Okay. Let's see if I can put this over here where it can. Okay. Let me see. I'm trying to put it. Is there any more in there? It's empty?
A little bit.
Oh, I was going to put it here just to cool.
We hold them for ourselves.
Oh, okay. Sure. Okay. I hope you enjoyed the spices and they're not too hot. Can you smell it in here?
How long did you saute the,
About 6 minutes. Yeah. And it just depends on how crunchy you like it. And I saute it based on just to get the flavors in there. Yeah, because that's what's really the healing too. Not too much, give them a little. Give them a little. Yeah, over rice, or quinoa, millets, polenta. Yes.
very good.
Thank you. We don't want to give them too much, so that we can, because I didn't, oh, let them, see, you guys gave them too much. Yeah, just want a taste. A taste?
Did you say?
Yes. Oh, they want some. You want, okay, yeah, just a little taste, yeah. I didn't know how much time I was going to take here, so I would have brought another batch, but
Did you grind the caraway seeds or the
yeah, I grind them.
caraway?
I grind them. Yeah, I grind. You could grind them in the a coffee grinder. Yeah, that works really well. And I also, when I buy my kale and not the kale, basil and thyme and all the herbs fresh, I bring them home and I hang them up and let them dry out, and then I put them in a paper bag and just break them away from their stems, and then I grind them, and it's so fresh. That ain't me, is it? That's the one. Oh yes, yes.
Our book should be out in about 3 to 4 weeks. We thought we would have it out for today. I mean, we really thought that, but what can you say? The best laid plans of mice and men. But what we found is it's a process called proofreading. Have you heard of that one? Yeah.
Right. And an index.
If you are the author, I mean, it's amazing. It's almost magical. You can see a word and you know it in your mind it's the word and it should be the word are. So we had to bring in 3 other proofreaders to assist us. Mm-hmm. Hey, we put in 16 months on this book. I missed my birthday working. Anyone, any cancers here? I missed my birthday. Well, also in our book, what we have is most men are slow. Now, of course, no, please. We understand that we have mostly exceptional people, so we just say most. You're exceptional. But what I have found in being on this planet almost 70 years is that it's kind of karmic when you come in as a man. You know, it's like you have to pay the bill when you get here. And it takes the average man, I said average, not you, average, about 50 years before we begin to mature. And by then, most of us, because we didn't get it, we may have some health challenges because we didn't listen when usually a woman that told us about the beer, told us about the smoking, told us about, the list goes on, all right? And if you survive, look around and thank every person in your life for putting up with you. Because it is not easy being slow and it is not easy being green. So, one of the things that I try to tell men as I go from place to place, listen to the mother of it all. And that is the one that nurtures us. Listen to them. They know a lot. And in the book, we give a whole bunch of reasons why women are physically, more superior. Oh, yeah. I mean, we can run a short distance and carry a kind of semi-heavy load for a short distance, but that's where it stops. And so it's in the book laid out. I mean, really? Oh, my. But it didn't really surprise me that much. But I was so slow that I thought all women knew it and they just kept it as a secret from us. You know what I mean? But for those you women that are still disguising and you did not know, now you understand why you had so many challenges, okay? Now, part of that is with the book. And Naasira, our book is different from others. Number one, not only is it cooked by the best person on the planet and the cook, but we have no soy. And I told you part of the soy story. It's really amazing what they're doing. Also, it's gluten-free. And, of course, it's all vegan. And she has an approach for cooking for the week. What we have found in talking to a lot of ex-vegans, ex-vegetarians, it was too hard. I couldn't keep up. Well, look, there is no silver bullet. Either you're going to have to prepare your food or pay someone to do it. Nothing in between. Now, if you're going to have to do it, her approach basically is you take one day of the week, Saturday, Sunday, whatever it is, and that is the day that you do your shopping, you get all of your food. You may want to put it away, or that same day, you might want to cut it up. But Naasira, you want to tell them the rest, please?
Oh, yes. Yes, my approach was for 40 years cooking for the week. After I became ill, I was working, going to school. I needed to have my own food. So I would, Saturday, I would study all day. I would go out and party, have fun. Sunday, I study, and that evening, I would cook. And it may take 5 or 6 hours. And I would cook enough where I can bring it to work and school all day. And I did the same thing for my children. I always cooked for the week where there was always food to eat, and you didn't really have to eat in a restaurant unless you just chose to do so. It works really well when you have a vegan diet, because you really need to have the nutrients, because we're not going through the animals to get our nutrients. We're putting that in our bodies ourselves, the plant-based. So yes, the book explains it, and hopefully that will get more people interested in preparing their own food by just cooking a couple of days before, cook for several days.
Now, one of the things that I wanted to do was put enough information in there. So if you had any challenges in your body and you knew you needed to eat a certain way, you could just simply look at the herbs, the spices, the fruits, and the vegetables and see what type of qualities and properties they have. So you can take her approach for cooking and work with your fruits, vegetables, grains, legumes, or whatever it is that your body needs. Put that with her approach to help you get your optimum health.
Yes, and also my breakfast every morning is quinoa combined with millet, black rice and red rice, and steel cuts. And I make 6 cups of water of it, and then 3 cups of the different grains, and with coconut oil, and I put the turmeric in there, and the cinnamon, nutmeg, cardamom, just fill it up with spices is what I do, and I let it cook for 30 minutes. And then I take it off the fire and let it sit for 30 minutes, and it just separates. And then you can have your fruits cut up on the side, your dry fruits. I use the superfoods such as maca, coriander. No, not coriander, but I was thinking chlorophyll. Corolla is one of them. Chlorella, excuse me. Thinking, and spirulina.
Chlorella.
Absolutely. And then I put the Hansa berries there, the raisins, the goji berries. I'm just more or less an alchemist, actually. This is what I like to do. My kitchen is my laboratory.
In fact, the title is Mama Naasira. The M for
Mastering.
She's done this for years. And alchemist.
Alchemist in the lab.
Which is like
A laboratory. It is.
And
mastering.
she's also
Master.
Yeah, you're the
Master of my diet. Yeah, been doing it for a long time.
She's been giving, and of course,
Agape, which is love, and that's what's in the foods, primarily the love. Okay.
Let's see, the book itself. Now, when we started the book, she had one of her wonderful friends to be the editor. She said, "Oh, I love to edit a cookbook. I've edited one myself before, and in fact, I've even written one. So bring it on." And when we started adding on all of the other material, she didn't give up, but she got more interested in it. In fact, our editor was 400 pounds when she started on this venture with us. Mm-hmm. And she has lost about 180 pounds. Mm-hmm. And she feels good, she looks good, and I think this may have had something to do with it.
Mm-hmm. And then we had another, one of our editors, assistant editors. Last night I called her briefly. She was cooking the stew last night. And she said, "This is a lot of work." I said, "Well, just think, once you're done with it, you can do different things with it for the whole week. So just stay with it." And she said she was excited about it and had also shopped at the farmer's market. Because we also talk about the farmer's market in the book, how it's better to shop there based on the seasons.
Okay, we also talk about, in the book, the importance of you touching your body to the earth. And I've always called it barefoot. And we used to run around without our shoes on. You guys know how it is, run along the beach, how good you feel. And that's what it is, because the earth itself, it has the negative electrons that kind of neutralize those positively charged things that aren't so good for you, like free radicals. Okay? So whenever you can, take those shoes off, lay on the beach or whatever. We have so many dogs around here, you got to watch where you lay or step. But anyway, that's another story. But that is one thing that's very important, is to bear what we call barefoot. For some of us, it's very important that we get a lot of sun. For others, you don't require as much. But what is important is that you have a positive attitude and you have movement. Her book, it just encompasses the triangle. not only do you eat the food that supports your body, but you also have to have movement. Some of us call it exercise. And to me, when I think of exercise, I think of work. But when I think of movement, I can think of dance, I can think of skipping, I can think of swinging, I can think of trampoline.
Yeah.
And your imagination could just take you wherever you want to go. My wife and I formally, we do a lot of things like Bikram yoga and this
Tai
and that.
Chi is one of the better ones for your inside organs.
But what we
And-
found is that you really don't have to work, that hard with your exercising, because if you lift a lot of weights, you're going to break your joints down sooner. But just what you do in everyday life, that generally is enough if you have movement. So we want you to dance. That gets your spirit up, that helps your body get that zinging feeling, and you become healthier. So find music that you like. Invent a song that you like. When you wake up in the day, think of a song that's going to carry you through. And all of us are very creative people. So we can come up with something that is tailored just for us, right? Every day when I get up, I'm going to put my foot down. I got to remember, I got to be right and not be a clown. It ain't easy being a man, sometimes you're slow. But if we do the right thing, things get better and we're gonna go. And you can do that and even more.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now,
Okay.
thank you. Okay. All right, I just got to note that we have recipes for the stew and for the vegan cornbread. Now, we only have a limited amount, so if you're really, truly going to use them, raise your hand and we'll take care of it. Okay? Here we are?
All right.
Okay, was there anything on there? Is that it? We covered it, huh?
Now, if you sign the mailing list, what we'll do is we'll send you out a promo that we did for spicy, tasty vegan cuisine. And if you did not sign up, we'd like so please do so. And write clearly, because the last 16 months trying to look at handwriting, some English teachers will roll over in there.
Okay. Okay, now.
We will just thank them, and then we'll call it quits.
Oh, they're passing those out right now.
Well, we'd like to thank you for all coming out.
Thank you.
And listening to us. And when you
Yeah.
hear that jingle, spicy, tasty, vegan cuisine. Okay, you don't know what that
Okay, so I better wait on this.